GCB, the moose, and the candy man. Like a freight train rolling, bringing truth bombs down the line. Promoting the Southland 1 week at a time. Promoting the Southland 1 week at a time. SCV chat starts now.
Cotton candy as we know it today was invented in Tennessee. Most sources will tell you that the inventors were a Nashville dentist named William Morrison and a candy maker named John C. Wharton. Wharton, a man whose story has been lost to history, was much more than just a candy maker, though. He was a noted chemist and inventor. Upon his death, he was even referred to as the Edison of the South. And guess what? He was a Confederate veteran. Wharton served in the Confederate Medical Corps during the war between the states and was employed as a chemist. Post-war, he returned to Nashville and taught chemistry at Vanderbilt University and worked on several inventions, including an alcohol still. His two most famous inventions, though, were the Wharton's writing fluid and the fairy floss machine, fairy floss being the original name of cotton candy. So the next time you enjoy some cotton candy at the fair, think fondly of the old Confederate veteran that made it possible. Like and follow for more.
And thank you, Adam, for that wonderful little tidbit of Confederate history. Before we get started, the views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are not necessarily those of the SCV, its GEC, its executive director, nor any division, brigade, camps, or other subsidiaries, strictly those of us expressing them. Well, you may be wondering what in the world is going on. We still have another Monday in the month. Why are we bringing Adam on so early? Well, we're going to be off the air next week. I have to go speak to a camp that's having a special meeting for Memorial Day. So I will not be on, and Moose has plans that pre-existed before this. So we will not be on next week. So we figured we would be able to get our update from our headquarters as well as play a little bit of trivia. Oh, I see the Commander-in-Chief is in the chat. Fairy floss to Jason Boshears as well. I guess it's kind of like Faversham with Carl. A lot of people don't know this, but there were three portraits really, that were unveiled for Buckingham Palace this week. Of course, the first one being of King Charles the third, but also this one. We do have video of it. It hasn't made that big out there, but there was that one. There was also this one. I'm really proud to see this one being unveiled at Buckingham Palace.
That's really nice.
Yeah. Anyway, if you guys are not on TikTok and you're looking to get on TikTok, make sure to follow Adam on there. Adam does a great job with posting things about the museum as well as different pieces of Confederate as well as Tennessee history, as well as videos of Kayla mishandling a firearm on there. So really quickly, before we get started with your news and stuff, we started this a couple weeks ago and very, very happy to continue on with it. It is our Ancestor of the Week, and I'm trying to pull our Veteran of the Week. And I'm flying solo behind the scenes because Moose is in Florida, or actually somewhere between Mississippi and Florida. He's on the loose. So this week's Veteran of the Week, let me see if I can pull up his picture. There it is Captain Jean Renaud Jacques Prosper Landry, of the Donaldsonville Volunteer Battery, aka Marin's Battery, aka Landry's Battery of Louisiana Artillery. He is the ancestor of Camp Commander Vic Smith down there in Florida. So we appreciate you for sending in your ancestors' information. You had a very great write-up on with what you submitted. So we appreciate that. And while I butchered his unit's name, I believe I got his name all correct. And he's going to be in the upper right-hand corner for the rest of the evening. So thank you, Victor. If you guys have not sent excuse me, sent in your ancestor, you can still do that. You can go to the post on the website, or excuse me, on the Facebook page. You can email us at SCV Youth Outreach. We're collecting them for not only the national database, but also trying to collect them for a documentary that we're working on. So very, very happy for that. Adam, how are things in Central Tennessee?
Oh, we're doing well. Last week was a little rough. We had some tornadoes come through, but luckily no damage at HQ. So I appreciate everybody reaching out to us to inquire about not only our property, but our personal safety as well. So it really means a lot for everybody to call in and check on us, but we made it through okay. A lot of people in this county weren't so lucky, but we were, and just prayers to those who were affected. And again, thanks for checking on us.
Yeah. And I, for one, am really glad that everybody from headquarters was safe. Because I as soon as I found out about it, I texted you, and I was happy to hear back from you. How long were y'all without power?
Here at the house, we were without power for 36 hours.
Oh, that's nothing. Try Katrina. That was like, it felt like, I think it was 4 days we were without power in central Mississippi.
Yeah, we've done that before in the winter with some ice storms we've had breaking the power lines, but usually a tornado, something like that, we're up in a few hours. But really a lot of damage. It took out a whole transfer station here, so we were without power for 36 hours.
Well, why didn't you just go stay at the house?
Stay at Elm Springs?
Yeah.
You know the place is haunted.
So Mrs. Looney would have understood. Well, I don't think Twitty Dog would appreciate it hearing him in the background.
He did. He said no ghost for him.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, anyway, so what updates and things have been going on at headquarters?
Well, we had a really good spring so far. Of course, we had the pilgrimage. That was not too long ago, first weekend of this month, and it was good to see you and Moose come down for that, or come up for that in y'all's case. But we had a really good event that Saturday, and I think I sent you some pictures. You want to go ahead and hop into them?
Yeah. So this is an old picture.
Yeah. This was the original smokehouse, and it's since been converted into a restroom, and the floor was getting pretty weak in there, so it had to be taken out completely. So there's the before picture, and here is the picture today. I just took this about 3 o'clock this afternoon. The floor is finished. Our commode and sink are back in, and it really looks nice. So
thank God for that.
Yeah, and the floor is secure. Big old fella like myself can safely jump around in there if I ever take a mind to. But I think it turned out really good. And as I said, this is the one original smokehouse for Elm Springs, so we'll have some signage in there. I mean, we go on a tour, you don't want to show somebody the bathroom, but then you kind of do because it was the smokehouse. So we'll just put a little bit of signage in there in case you're using the bathroom. You'll know that this was the smokehouse.
Yeah, and especially if that enchilada. I'm not going to make that joke. I'm sorry.
Don't do
it. So also, you sent in some pictures of what looked like donated items from the pilgrimage.
Absolutely. So the pilgrimage, a lot of folks took our recommendations and brought some live plants that we could put on the property. And the folks from Kentucky, I think it was the Bluegrass Brigade, they brought 4 apple trees. So on one side of our kitchen garden, we have peach trees. So on this side, we planted the apple tree. So we've got the start of a pretty good little orchard there at Elm Springs, if we can just keep the deer away from them.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it. Well, I can help with that during deer season. I think there are many other guys in the SCV who also volunteer for that. But how many of those holes did Miss Kayla have to dig by herself?
Well, tell you the truth, I did those trees. So she planted the hydrangeas and all that other good stuff, but I did the trees.
Well, good. You should have.
Yep.
That's very good. Good job, Adam. Attaboy. So, of course, it would be nice if some of those peaches and apples could make it into a dessert party at some time in the future.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Nice cobbler and pie.
Yeah, no kidding. So, of course, talking about our museum and the grounds is great, but artifact acquisition. So we've had a lot of artifacts come in the past the past 2 years. And the museum, if you haven't walked through it, I had a chance to go through during the pilgrimage, and it's really, really coming along and getting full. But we had some more stuff turned in the last month. So I'm going to bring up the first artifact you submitted.
Yeah, this is a really neat piece, and this actually came out of Columbia, Tennessee. I forget there are so many Columbias across our confederation. So let me specify, this came out of Columbia, Tennessee. I remember seeing this when I was a kid. This used to be in the local American Legion, and the American Legion has now they've sold the building, and they no longer have a place to store their artifacts. Somebody that's a member of the SCV went and retrieved this for us because it belonged to his uncle, and he was in Korea, and he was ordered to take a hill. And once they had driven the Chinese away from this hill, he was ordered to wave a flag because they were supposed to keep radio silence. And he just happened, being a good Southern boy, to have this flag on him. So he attached this flag to his rifle, and that's how they signaled to the command that they had taken the hill from the Chinese.
Oh, that is an awesome story. That is an awesome story. Take that, Moose. That's what you get for going to Florida. You get to miss that. And then we had some veteran artifacts donated.
Absolutely. And these all came from the same Confederate veteran, Lewis Caput Moore. Everybody called him Chris because he was born on Christmas Day. And his descendant has loaned these permanently to us. This is his saber. This is his spur. Of course, his photograph and 2 of his reunion medals or ribbons. He was a Confederate veteran from the Florence, Alabama area, and he rode with Forrest.
Well, that is very, very cool. Especially because, 4th Alabama and a lot of people don't realize there were 2 4th Alabamas. There was our 4th Alabama and another one. So that's very, very cool that we have that. And then this one, you're going to have to tilt your head for to get the whole shot in, but StreamYard wouldn't crop it that way. So apologies for that.
Yeah, not only did the Kentucky fellows bring us some trees, they brought us a couple of great items, some original books, and being a first edition copy of Morgan's Cavalry by Basil Duke. And I believe the copyright on that is 1867. So you don't get much better than that. And then there's another little book on Morgan that is also a first edition. Now, when we get these first editions, if these do not go into the regular library, these go into what I call the special collection. So we keep these in our archive room. If there are requests to bring them out, we'll let you look at them. But for the most part, they stay put up in the climate control, or we may put them on display in the museum. So don't be afraid don't think that we're going to put your first edition books out for people to thumb through and dog ear the pages. No, but we will be taking care of those.
Well, with the copyright, would you say 67, 86?
1867, yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely a first-hand account. And it being out of copyright, if it hadn't been renewed, potentially headquarters could reproduce it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Frank, you watching?
Public domain. Yeah, there you go, Frank.
And some other books you sent in. The first one I'm going to bring up was very interesting when I saw the picture. I haven't Googled it to see what it is, but tell us about the Atonement of John Brooks, the story of the true Johnny Reb who did not come marching home.
Yeah, this was something else that came in through the pilgrimage, or thanks to the pilgrimage. James Head, Dr. Head, was at the pilgrimage on the May 4th, and he wrote this book, of course, about John Brooks. And this book is really about Yankee atrocities in Kentucky during the war. So it tells you all about not only atrocities against Confederate soldiers, shooting prisoners, but also things they did to the civilians up there as well. And John Brooks was one of those Confederate soldiers that was executed for pretty much no reason other than he was a Confederate soldier.
Yeah, and they hated us.
Mm-hmm.
Or excuse me, they still hate us. All right. And then A Southern Soldier Boy, The Diary of Sergeant Beaufort Sampson. I ain't even going to try to say that one.
It looks I would say Buzz Hart, but
yeah.
But as you can tell, his diary, he did not make it through the war. So from 1838 to 1862, a young man when he passed away in Southern service. And this is his diary. I love first-person accounts, and this one was edited and published by an SCV member, H.V. Trawick. So he sent this to us for our research library. We're glad to have it. We've put it in our collections right now. But I always like to share with you some of these donations, because you might want to, like you said, Google it or look it up on Amazon and get a copy for yourself. And, so many of our members are historians in their own rights and can publish something. Just get the story out there. Share history when you can. And I applaud these members for writing books and trying to share the history of our Confederate ancestors.
Really quickly, let me pull this down and get back to the question. Ron Kennedy asked, do we have a first edition of the Gray Book?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, if somebody has one, we'll gladly take it, right?
Absolutely. Would love to have one. I say not that I'm aware of, because we've done about 3,000-4,000 books cataloging. We still have half a library and a lot of books in boxes we haven't gone through yet. So it's still a slow process of trying to find time to go through the library. We have a few volunteers, but some more would be welcome. If anybody wants to come volunteer with us, I'd love to have you sometime. But never know what we're going to discover from one day to the next.
Well, and then speaking of dessert parties, almost like somebody tried to plan in a segue earlier, but I completely forgot that it was at the very bottom. What do we have coming up in June?
Yeah, June 15th, we have our annual summer dessert party, and this is in conjunction with the Forest Boyhood Home event. So that's Saturday. Go and spend the morning and afternoon at the Boyhood Home in Nathan Bedford Forest in Chapel Hill during their homecoming event. And then that evening, come and partake in the dessert party.
This will be the first dessert party I've been able to make. I am so happy about that. Kayla, I want whiskey cake.
Well, she's listening. She'll be making a note of it.
And that's just for me. Everybody else can. I haven't had real sugar since January. Whiskey cake. Besides a little bit of T-Rex birthday cake a couple weeks ago.
We'll have to. You and I will both have to take an extra
shot.
I don't know what kind of shot you're taking, but take an extra on that day.
The real question is, honestly, which one am I not on at this point? Oh, and if you're on our Patreon, speaking of, I need to plug that really quickly. If you're on our Patreon, definitely wrote about that in my past blog post, as well as talking a little bit about the Moose Book Club. Anyway, but hey, you can support us by going to www.patreon.com/SCV_chat. $10 a month. We will be making a donation at the museum of a percent of the proceeds that we've made off of Patreon to the museum. It's not going to be, excuse me, anything big because we've only been at it for a couple of months, as well as our T-shirts. Remember, we have our bonfire store where we have our T-shirts, and we'll talk some more about the T-shirts a little bit later after trivia. But we are donating. We're hoping that'll be $200. I mean, it's not much. But you know, it's something that helps. Every little bit helps. So we want to give back to our museum. But yeah, join Patreon and join buy a t-shirt. We're going to take a really quick commercial break before we get into what everybody's here for, is trivia. And our commercial breaks this season are brought to you by Creative Cockades, this season's sponsor. Research and documentation, quality workmanship, and personal customer service. I can speak highly of the customer service. Miss Heather has been fantastic to work with. She is actually doing the Mississippi Division reunion cockades, which is, we're not doing a medal this year. We're doing that because we felt like doing something a little bit different, kind of like what the UCV ribbons that Adam showed earlier. Those are actually, I've got those in within the past week. So that's what they would look like. She does great research. Most of this research that's in our book of report actually came from her website, especially this quote from the Semi-Weekly Mississippian out of Jackson, Mississippi, talking about them. She's got cockades from every single state, as well as reproduction of some of the UCV ones. She's got ones that, you know, if your camp has a namesake. Adam, what camp are you in?
Camp 29, Samuel R. Watkins.
All right, so that I think she actually has Sam's picture in there, so the guys in his camp can actually put Sam Watkins's picture in there. Or if you have a picture of your Confederate ancestor like Victor did, you can put that in there. She's really great turnaround. She's really good to work with. We really appreciate everything that she's doing and keeping history alive. You know, she's doing a great job. But we'll be right back with trivia after this quick commercial break.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Really quickly, what is the cigar of the month?
I just responded to him as a Rocky Patel.
I'm not a big fan of Rockies. I'm more of the Drew Estate line. You know, Undercrown really is the regular Undercrown, and then the light Undercrown. I've started liking those, and I also like the nubs. Nubs to me, I mean, it's the perfect, you know, because
a quick little evening smoke. I like that.
Yeah, and you know, you're not having to sit out there and baby it. You know, you're maybe out there for 45 minutes, you know, and you're done. Hey, Nub, Drew, Rocky, If you want to sponsor us, we'll gladly take cigars.
That's right.
Yeah, Paul, we know you're a Gurkha fan. Actually, I will say the best cigar I've ever had was a Gurkha Centurion 25-year cellar age double perfecta. That's been the best one I've had. But I can't afford those.
Yeah.
It came in a bundle.
You talking big money. I mean, I've been buying these little cheapos in bulk, so yeah.
Well, at least it's not the Circle K brand like what Carl likes. Really quickly, so tonight, as we advertised last week, and as we have advertised in today's preview for the show, we're doing trivia. If you've never played trivia with SCV Chat before, welcome. It's not like Jeopardy. You do not have to answer in a form of a question. We have 16 questions tonight. There will be 2 minutes per question. The question will be displayed on the bottom of the screen, and I'll also read it off. I've got the timer. Adam is keeping score of those who get it correctly. If you win trivia tonight, if you get first place, you get the answers correct, then you will receive something special. If you're at National Reunion, you will receive something and a certificate. If you're not at National Reunion, you'll just receive a certificate in the mail, but you need to send us your mailing address. So, really quickly, you had 3 comments come in. I want to read those. All right. So, I'm going to put it up and then start the timer. So, boom, timer. All right. How much money did the war to prevent Southern independence cost the federal government each day?
This one was tough.
We're going to start off with a tough one. I mean, we've got our chat heads, we expect the best for them. So how much money did the war to prevent Southern independence cost the federal government each day?
I was shocked by the answer.
Yeah, and I'll go into the inflationary stuff. This is not inflated. Because I had to double check it to make sure that it was right. Not seeing any answers coming in. Come on, throw something out there. Even if you don't know, throw a guess. Your guess may be correct. All right, we have one guess. We have 2 guesses. Yes, Jason, the IRS was established because of this, or at least the first income tax to pay for this astronomical amount to keep our Confederate ancestors in shackles to the meddlesome federal government.
Carl's close.
Yeah, Dr. Sandy Mitchum's close. And I tell you what, we'll do it within. When I give the answer, I'll say who got it right, because I can accept 2 answers and possibly even a third. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, there's my timer going off. So, according to a report released by the Federal Congress in 1863, the financial cost of fighting the war was $2.5 million a day. According to the source that I found, we'll accept the 3.5. We'll accept the 2 million for this one because it was tough. But if you calculate for that inflation and you calculate the number of days of the war, just as an average base, that's roughly $8 billion that the federal government spent to keep our ancestors in a union that we did not want to stay in. And you think about that, and then also the economic impact of what happened with the destruction of the South. It's been a lot cheaper for the nation to just let us go. I'm just saying. So winners on that, we have got, like I said, we'll take Adam Medlin. We'll take Sandy Mitchum, Carl Jones, John Least. So those are those on there. Yeah. And of course, they had to pay an income tax to pay for it. So, question number 2, putting it up. All right. Fraley's Field, Bloody Pond, and the Peach Orchard, Hell's Hollow, and the Hornet's Nest were landmarks of what major battle? This one should be a pretty easy one. This one we should have some. Some answers coming up. Just reading some of the stuff. All right, we're seeing some answers coming in. Carl, you're right. It is cheaper in lives and cheaper in liberties, most important. Dr. Mitchum, Dr. Sandy Mitchum, of course, says income tax in the North, 1% on anything above 90K. To their credit, the Yankees refused to pay it. True. But if they'd just left us alone, like Jefferson Davis would have said, they wouldn't have had to pay that 1% income tax on anything over 90K. So we're seeing some answers coming in. Fraley's Field, Bloody Pond, the Peach Orchard, Hell's Hollow, and the Hornet's Nest were landmarks of what major battle? And this one, there, especially when you're hearing the Peach Orchard, makes you think of another battle, but Bloody Pond and the Hornet's Nest kind of gives it away. Are you at least? I know you, Adam. I know you know this one, so you should see everybody writing on there.
Yeah.
So we got about 25 seconds left. So get your final answers in. We actually have a video that we'll be releasing from one of these locations that we shot on the battlefield a couple of weeks ago. So that gives you a little bit of a hint. Did I send that one to you?
I haven't seen it.
I'll have to find it and send it to you. All right. Timer is off. So it is Shiloh, Pittsburgh Landing. We'll accept that one as well. And I keep hitting the wrong thing. So Luke, you were just behind it. You're just behind it, Luke. We can't count that one. So yeah, Shiloh battle, the first real big battle in the Western Theater. Had more casualties combined than all American wars leading up to that point. So question 3, y'all get ready for it. What well-known Confederate general was killed in action on June 14th, 1864 at Pine Mountain, Georgia?
No.
He was technically at a staff meeting when he was killed. If we want to get, exact on it. See some answers rolling in. I knew Dr. Mitchum would get it right or wrong, or have an answer for it with his his book of biographies.
A lot of answers here. Yep.
Yeah. This one should be very neighborly. No, I wouldn't say near and dear, but neighborly to Adam.
Mm-hmm. Even though he's not buried in Murray County, he did live here for a while.
Yeah. Had a church. Oop, I think that was about 30 seconds in. It's good for a hint.
Yeah.
Carl, we can't accept whatever Dr. Mitchum says is also my answer.
That's a good response, though.
It is. I mean, that's.
Even though my chat, Dr. Mitchum is not showing up in any of my chat. So.
Well, he's answering from YouTube.
Okay.
So that's
I'm
that's
not. I'm
why.
not seeing any of the YouTube answers. So.
Yeah, because we are. So Dr. Mitchum's gotten everything right, but it was the fighting bishop Leonidas Polk. Um, Luke is correct. He was killed by artillery. Um, he was the fighting bishop. I think in that video of the museum, we still had the portrait at that time of General Polk, in his bishop's getup with his sword and uniform beside him. It was not Pat Claiborne, Logan. Pat Claiborne was killed, of course, at Franklin, November 30th, 1864, so months later. As far as those from the YouTube who got it right, C.W. Johnson got it right. Adam Medlin got it right. Sandy Mitchum got it right. So, yeah, that's it on that one. So going to the next question. One of my personal favorites. Where did the bloodiest 8 minutes of the war occur?
I think I know this one, but I'm going to be probably surprised when you give the answer.
Well, and I'll get into it a little bit more. When you actually do the math out, it's a federal casualty about one every 14 seconds.
Wow.
But the bloodiest 8 minutes of the war. At least for federal casualties.
Those are the ones I like to talk about.
Yeah. No kidding. Dr. Mitchum says that he is not sure about his answer. So that's interesting.
I see a lot of good guesses in here.
Yeah, a lot of good guesses, a lot of correct ones in there. A lot of people have some correct ones. One person's being very specific on his correct answer. With knowing the historical knowledge that guy knows, I'm not surprised. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so Cold Harbor, June the 3rd, 1864. Grant orders a massive frontal assault against Lee's entrenched line that Lee and, of course, the A and V ends up pushing back. 7,000 federal casualties taken within 8 minutes. Like I said, that's about a casualty every 14 and a half seconds. But still, that's that's where Grant got the nickname the Butcher. I believe in his memoirs, he actually wrote saying he regretted 2 assaults, Cold Harbor and then the assault at Vicksburg. But as far as everybody who got it right, Adam Medlin got it right. Jason Boshears did not get it right. David Pope was the one that got very specific with second Cold Harbor. Dr. Mitchum got Cold Harbor correct. Kyle Thompson, C.W. Johnson, Jason Lloyd, those are the ones that got it right. I actually had a ancestor who was killed the next day when the stalemate happened. Federal sharpshooter popped him. He died at Chimborazo a couple hours later. And then a couple of days later, his son, who he never got to meet, was born. So, yeah. Yep. Another A and say again.
I was just saying, good job to all those that got that right.
Yeah. Another A and V based question. So, what was the name of the unsuccessful attempt by Ambrose Burnside to move the Army of the Potomac against the Army of Northern Virginia following the federal loss at Fredericksburg? What was that known as? C.W. Johnson writes in, imagine the air must have turned red and pink. There are accounts of, because it was in June and trees coming out and saplings, but trees that would have been between the armies actually. And of course, that's in the entire overland campaign. Branches being missed off of them and, trees being, almost shorn completely of the leaves and things. Just hellacious fighting. Weirdly enough, the Lee's line only broke at one place, was immediately plugged, and Lee was so freaked out about how quickly the Federals were repulsed. He didn't believe it, and he actually wrote later on that had the Federals broken anywhere else, it had been a rout of the army because he did not have any more reserves.
Seeing a few answers.
Yeah. Seeing a lot of good ones. Ambrose Burnside is a very unfortunate looking character. Of course, most Yankees were very unfortunate looking. But they used to say that Meade looked like a goggle-eyed snapping turtle. Well, Burnside didn't look that much different either. He looked more like a mustachioed buzzard. We got about 10 seconds left on this to be able to get your answers in. So 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. The answer for that is, of course, the Mud March. Burnside, tried getting the Army of the Potomac to attack Fredericksburg, and we were dug in, and it was just a horrible thing. Weirdly enough, the only spot of a breakthrough at that battle was in Jackson's lines. Burnside, of course, realizes that he had messed up by attacking, and then tried to move the army around the flank and got rained on, and tremendous downpour, and the Federal Army marched back to their camps and were camps for the rest of the winter. So, all right, we have another long one, long answer one, that can be in hard one, but can be in multiple parts. So we'll accept several answers on this. Well, really quickly, let me give you the winners of that last one. Yeah, Carl, they were porkers. Luke Moore, of course, got it right. Dave Perkins got it right. Robert Corbin got it right. Jason Boshears did not get it right. Perry Neal Smith got it right. C.W. Johnson off of YouTube got it right. Dr. Sandy Mitchum got it right, obviously. Perry Neal, I already mentioned him. Adam Medlin got it right. Jason Lloyd got it right. And that's it. Good evening, Billy Bryan. Glad you could join us. You're a little bit late on it, but you can catch up. We still got about 10 questions left. So, what was the main strategic objective of the Federals' Anaconda Plan? You're welcome, Commander-in-Chief. I've got to keep you humble. I mean, it's one of those things when you get a portrait unveiled at Buckingham Palace by King Charles III, you've got to, I got to keep you with us. I feel like I should be in Central Tennessee following you around the house with a laurel wreath, whispering in your ear, "You're only mortal." All right, we got our first answer in. Got our second answer in. Got our third answer in. Yeah, that $2.5 million per day is a very, very interesting, little tidbit. That's how much they hate us. So just for y'all to remember next time how much, and think about how much that's spent out of the United States economy at that time. and how, especially with the destruction of the South, how much that ended up costing us, and especially with inflation going skyrocket and everything like that. That's something to really put stuff into perspective. And that's time. So we will bring it up, the answer. The Anaconda Plan aimed to blockade southern ports and gain control of the Mississippi River, effectively squeezing the Confederacy's resources and splitting it in two. So we will go ahead and accept answers from Joshua Mass, Al Stidham, Jason Lloyd, Jason Boshears got one, getting on the board. Carl Jones, to prevent trade, will take that one and prevent supplies from coming in and starve the southern population of necessary goods. Ron Kennedy, separate the South from the rest of the world by choking off ocean and Mississippi River trade. Luke Moore will take that. Dr. Mitchum will, I don't see where you answer that one, Dr. Mitchum. Blockade of trade and commercial from David Perkins will take that. And yeah, Carl is right with this one. Succinctly, to push the southern population to death or close enough into forced surrender. But they were so kind to us. They were so benevolent.
Yeah, this was kind of the last great master plan of Winfield Scott, was it not?
Yeah. Yeah, and they followed it. So anyway, so this past weekend was the anniversary of this one particular battle. Or at least the end of the school and end of the school year for the this one particular institution that we'll mention in the question. But I saw where some of the cadets from this school made a trek to this battlefield, and anyway, couldn't let it pass without asking a couple of VMI questions. So, in what battle did the cadets, that should be cadets, I apologize for mistyping it, cadets from VMI help inflict a humiliating defeat on federal troops under General Franz Sigel in the Shenandoah Valley? Again, should be cadets. Sometimes when you're typing fast, you leave out a T every once in a while. I didn't make sure my T's were crossed and I's were dotted.
How dare you?
I know. Dock my pay. They made a very good movie a couple of years ago about this one particular battle and about the VMI cadets. They take the different the point of view of like 3 different cadets and apply the different points of view of the South, and you get to see that through their eyes, as well as the drama unfolding with John C. Breckinridge and everything like that, and God forgive me, but send the boys in. Really giving y'all some good help or some good hint here.
I mean, you really are.
But it's such a good movie for it to be, having not been made by a major production company, and it's really, really good. Of course, Moses. Hey, BK, you mentioned it. That's right. Moses Ezekiel and his cadets are being one of the cadets, and of course the Arlington Monument and everything like that. But of course, can't talk about him in a positive light anymore, at least according to our own federal government and overlords. Jason Boshears asked a good follow-up question, and we'll count it as a bonus question. Was Newmarket and having to send those cadets in worth $3 million a day? All right. Clock timer, and a lot of people have put it in there. I think I gave the answer when I was reading Jason's comments. Newmarket, Battle of Newmarket. So the movie, The Field, yeah. So that's the movie. We'll count that as a correct for the commander in chief. He caught me on that. Joshua Mass got it. David Perkins got it. BK Turner, Luke Moore. Of course, these are all on Facebook. Jordy got it. Al got it. Carl got it. Dr. Sandy Mitchum got it. Perry Neal Smith got it. Robert Corbin, Adam Medlin off of YouTube, C.W. Johnson off of YouTube as well. Got it correct. And keeping on a VMI trend, that's the hint for this one. What Confederate officer at one time challenged Stonewall Jackson to a duel? So there's your hint that it has to do with VMI. But you know, I could there are a lot of people who I would not call out to a duel. Bedford Forrest and Jackson, because of his eccentricity, is another one. And I hope everybody tuned in a couple of Fridays ago when we did our replay of our Jackson videos for the anniversary of his death and our celebration here on SCV Chat of 200 years of Jackson, and us trying to stand like a stone wall against all this cultural upheaval that the Yankees, who are willing to spend $2 million a day to defeat us in 1861 to 1865, they're still trying to do to this day because it's bred in them. Read Albion Seed. You'll learn a lot of that. CW, I think you're talking about the horse soldiers, as the fictional cadets fighting Yankees, which is still a great movie. Really love that. Josh, we've asked some Western theater ones, at least with dealing with battles and commanders. So we're hitting some Eastern theater for the next couple of them. So trying to be fair, and then we're also going to have some pictures coming up, and then some final questions. So we're at our halfway point on our questions. Yeah, we asked some Western theater. We're in the Eastern theater. Then we've got some famous faces and stuff like that. 3, 2, 1, final answers. And there's the time. So the correct answer is, while as a student at VMI, General James A. Walker unsuccessfully challenged Jackson to a duel after Jackson's discipline led to Walker's expulsion. So in there, C.W. Johnson got it there at the last second. Sam Mitchum on YouTube got it. Adam Medlin got it off of YouTube. That's very interesting that Jackson was even challenged to a duel before the war. And of course, when you talk about dueling, you can't help but mention the Marmaduke duel. And weirdly enough, do you know who? I think it was Marmaduke's second. Do you know who his father was?
No.
It was Davy Crockett's grandson. It was either his second or the guy who was the other party in the duel.
The other party in the duel was James K. Polk's nephew, Walker. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of their seconds was Crockett's grandson. So just proving that Southern history is not that far apart.
No. Who were your YouTube winners on that one?
Yeah, YouTube's again were C.W. Johnson, Sandy Mitchum, Adam Medlin, and that was it off the YouTubes.
Okay. All right.
So question number 9. What 2 Confederate generals were accidentally wounded by their men and almost exactly a year apart and almost on the same battlefield? Which is kind of ironic. I knew that the battlefields were close, but I did not realize that the wounding dates were so close. Especially when you think of everything that happened between that year. You had Gettysburg, you had Chickamauga down here. So much Wounded. They were both wounded by their men. Now, one of them may have ended up dying of his wounds. The other one may have survived and become a scallywag politician. Who knows? But just the wounding. But I'm seeing some of the correct answers in the chat. Gave you a hint there, Commander-in-Chief. I love how he's taking trivia serious tonight. I think he wants the coveted inaugural Michael C. Hardy Trivia Award.
I think he does.
For this, which I have to figure out what the award is going to be. I think it's going to be like a bell for because we had to use those in Quiz Bowl back in high school and middle school and elementary school when I was on the academic team for all of those. All right, time is up. Answer is Jackson and Longstreet. Of course, the Battle of the Wilderness and the Battle of Chancellorsville. Josh, you were just under. I saw it pop up just a second ago. You're just under it. Commander-in-Chief did get it in just in time, so he got it right. But as far as YouTube goes, C.W. Johnson, Adam Medlin, and of course, Dr. Mitchum.
Okay.
Yes, Cooper C. Cooper was wounded at a dance at that same time of year. It was 35 years after the war, ink poisoning, I think. Yeah, Carl, I think that's correct. I think that's when he lost his hair. Or when he was coloring his hair on. Lord have mercy. All right. Question number 10. 6 more. What was special about the 43rd Battalion of Virginia Cavalry? Not necessarily what was special, but what other name were they known by is kind of what I'm getting at. I expect Mr. Lloyd from Virginia to get it right, and he has sent in an answer already. But what was special about the 43rd Battalion of Virginia Infantry? Do you know, Adam?
I do not know.
Oh, well, you're going to learn something.
I am. I'm sad to say that my Eastern theater knowledge is not really up to snuff.
Well, you're getting some Eastern theater knowledge tonight.
I am. I really am. Well, I know the big ones, but when it gets down to units, yeah.
Well, you'll be surprised about it. I hope y'all can't hear what's going on in the background, at least on my end. My broadcast studio is where I work, and we have a high school graduation going on right over here. So if y'all hear any screamers, that's, very proud parents. And of course, we do want to give a shout out to all of our parents or grandparents who have a kid graduating this year. Congratulations to your graduates, whether that's, high school or college or even 3rd grade. And you know what a good graduation present for those kids are, especially if they're boys over the age of 12, SCV memberships.
And cash.
Or a donation to the museum in their name.
I will accept that as a correct answer.
Yeah. 2, 1, and that is the timer. So, Adam, the 43rd Battalion of Virginia Cavalry was the official name of Mosby's Rangers.
No, well, I did learn something new.
See, so that's something good. So, as far as getting them in on YouTube, Adam Medlin got it in. And guess who else?
Sandy Mitchell.
Dr. Sandy Mitchum got it. Really quickly, what is the current score?
I'll have to tally things up. I'm just writing people's
Oh.
names right. I would say Dr. Mitchell's in the lead.
All right. Well, guys, you can still catch up. We still have time. We still have some questions coming up. All right. This one is a special one to David Pope. David, you ought to get it right. What Confederate general was known as Old Jube? Better be the first one to comment, David. Nope, he wasn't the first one to comment. Second, we'll take it, but had to throw that one to David. We love David here on the channel. He's a very loyal viewer and Patreon member, one of our real chat heads on Patreon. So definitely check out what he's doing on the Douglas Southall Friends of Douglas Southall Freeman page. He's trying to get his StreamYard fixed so he can continue on with his live streams. But that is David, really appreciate everything you're doing for the cause. Everything you're doing to support chat. So I wanted to give you a little plug for this one. I think everybody's going to get it. Graduation let out.
I haven't heard them.
Well, that is just the good quality of this microphone then, canceling background noises.
Yeah. Can you hear the cicadas in my background?
I can hear the cicadas, but I'll take that over overly jubilant high schoolers any day. So 19 seconds, get those answers in. And that is Tom. So, of course, it is Jubal A. Early. His troops called him Old Jube or Jubilee. Whenever I hear his name, I always think of that scene in the Andy Griffith Show when Barney's drunk and he's talking to a guy named Jubal. Yeah. But Adam Medlin got it correct. C.W. Johnson got it correct. Samuel Mitchum got it correct, and that's it on the YouTube end. I think Adam's doing pretty well as well.
He is, yeah.
So, but we'll give a full tally at the end of the evening. All right, so now we get into our tricky ones. These are pictures of Confederate generals. So I'll pull up the picture here in a second. You name this Confederate general. All right. Testing your graphical knowledges. He's got the Adam Southern comb over going on.
He does. I think he's got a little bit more than I do.
Well, he just didn't have a haircut recently. Which you had your haircut recently, so.
Yep.
I'm actually trying to prove relation to him on my grandmother's side of the family.
He was a thin little fella.
Yeah, clearly I didn't get that from her side of the family, if that's the case. But he was from a certain state and related to another Confederate officer by marriage. I believe, if I'm correct, but shares a surname with my grandmother's maiden name. So, and that's about the same area where that family came from. So, do you know who it is?
I do not.
Well, there's several in the chat who do, so I'm very proud of them. And that, of course, is D.H. Daniel Harvey Hill. My grandmother was a Hill, and tracing the family back, we're from the same North Carolina area, but it's getting difficult to prove without a shadow of a doubt. So, all right, the next one, another image. So,
Well, who were your
we
YouTube
did-
winners on that one?
Oh, YouTube winners. I apologize, Adam. Guess.
Sandy Mitchum and Adam Medlin
Yes.
and C.W. Johnson. He's still playing.
I did not see. Well, let me see. I do not see CW answering in this one.
Okay.
So DH didn't see him in that one. So this one is a little bit tricky. Because I really like his hat. But he's a little tricky. So do you know this one?
Oh, he looks like Admiral of the Turkish Fleet.
Yeah. I think it's a pre-war photograph of him.
Yeah.
You know, because the chapeau and everything, but still, the what gets me is the ropes going across.
Yeah, I was going to say, did he serve after the war? This almost looks like a. I don't know. I have no idea who this is.
I know who would know if he served anywhere after the war. Yeah, he did. He did serve in the Second Mexican Empire after the war. So that may be a post-war picture of him. Could be post-war. And see, I didn't even know that he served in Mexico or served in the Mexicans or with Mexicans. So that's very interesting, and of course goes into very different story about the Confederate exile of the South after the war. Did we cover that in the museum?
I don't know. I have to go. It's been a while since I've walked the timeline to see. If it is, it's just a footnote. So. I'm familiar with the name that everybody's putting in here, but I don't believe I've ever seen a photograph of this person.
You've never seen a photograph of John B. Magruder, aka Prince John, the man made famous for his defense at Yorktown with the Quaker cannons and getting his troops out of there? I mean, come on.
I'm telling you, I'm learning a lot tonight.
Learning a lot. Well, we had all three hit on YouTube.
All right, good
so
deal.
Adam, Sammy, and CW all got Prince John. Joshua Mass is saying that it is early war. So we'll take your word for it. I know that there's another picture of him from like 1850 or 1848. There's the only other known one I've seen. So, but yeah, that is Prince John Magruder. All right, let me get my timer back up. So this is another image one. Who is this on the Confederate $2 bill? upper left-hand corner on this $2 bill. Oh, that's cool. I did not know that the commander-in-chief was related to Magruder.
I didn't either.
The more you know.
Yeah.
I put it like this: he's my boy. He is like I keep the biography, one of the few biographies ever written about him, beside my bed. Love studying his life just because of how complex it is, and how he is just his life really goes and disproves so much Yankee mythology on there. And it is not a young picture of him, Jason. The young picture, he does not have the mustache. He did not start growing the mustache at least until about 1862. His previous known photographs, he's clean-lipped. Okay, that is, of course, the first Attorney General, the second Secretary of War, and third Secretary of State of the Confederacy, Judah P. Benjamin. My boy Judah P. So, of ours that got it right on YouTube, Adam Medlin got it right, and C.W. Johnson got it right. Dr. Mitchum, yeah, you were just under. Yeah, I would love to have any of his papers, Commander-in-Chief Boshears, because he burnt all of his personal papers right before his death. So that's why he's such an enigma to historians. Educated at Yale, kicked out for gambling, but the brains of the Confederacy, as some folks called him. So the final two questions are coming up. So get ready for them. This one is going to be very difficult. So I want to give you all a second to put on your thinking caps. And you may want to get a calculator or something because it's mathematical. All right, you ready, Adam?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Two trains are driving towards one another. Train A leaves at 5 a.m. traveling 60 miles per hour. Train B leaves at 7 a.m. traveling at 70 miles per hour. The distance is 444 miles. Who is my favorite Confederate general?
So there was a train.
Yeah. Yeah. Train A, Train B. They're heading towards each other. They're going at different speeds. The distance is 444 miles per hour. Who's my favorite general?
I'm going to take my shoes off.
This one is so subjective. I will be surprised if anybody gets it right, but we will not count. I'll go ahead and say it. We will not. Hell no, David Pope. Beauregard is not my favorite general. We will. That's McClooney's favorite general. And it's definitely not Braxton Bragg.
See, that's what I was writing down.
Yeah, it is a Mississippi native, Jason, and he does have something to do with SD Lee, but it's not SD Lee. We won't actually count this one going towards, unless somebody gets it, going towards the final account.
See, I thought it was Johnson myself, but
no, it's not him either. Old Granny Johnson, I fear I have arrived too late to help Vicksburg. Getting closer with Pettigrew, same battle. Yeah, Dr. Mitchum says a simple question: if you know the cost of a bicycle in Amsterdam in 1888. But no, this guy I've done a ton, getting closer with Joseph Davis, but not him. Oh, there's the timer. Hey, Dr. Mitchum got it right at the timer, but we're still not going to count it because the music had started playing. But no, my favorite general who I've done the most research on is William Barksdale. Barksdale is a really cool historical figure when you look at him. Early fire eater during one of the fights that broke out during the sectional crisis in the before the war kicks off. He's a member of the House of Representatives, and he actually holds off a couple of Yankees. And I think, if memory serves correct, it's actually when Preston Brooks is beating the hell out of Senator Sumner. But he holds back some of the Yankees with a Bowie knife. Of course, Barksdale's Mississippians there at Fredericksburg, the sharpshooters, holding the wall there at 2nd Fredericksburg during the Chancellorsville campaign. The grandest charge ever made, Barksdale and his Mississippians there at the Peach Orchard, breaking the Federals, rolling them back. Barksdale, of course, has a cannonball that takes his leg off at the knee. Still in the saddle, on horseback, leading his men until he's finally shot in the chest by a bullet. He gets off the horse. They open his coat up while his men are the Federals who capture him after his men finally had to retreat. And they see that he's wearing Masonic mother of pearl buttons. And they take him back. They give him, refreshment, everything like that. Still, even though all that's happening, he's still cussing the Yankees while he's mortally wounded. He dictates a beautiful letter to his wife. The stereotypical of the time. What is the I died facing the enemy. The Federals actually have such respect for him and his bravery, even until death, that when he dies, the Federal Masons who had taken charge of him and did not send him back to a field hospital actually bury him on the Gettysburg battlefield and perform the Masonic rites for him, showing that unbroken brotherhood that was Masonry and still is Masonry for the most part. And then going through, and then after the war, the state of Mississippi disinterments his remains, buries him in Jackson, Mississippi, and it's the largest funeral held in Jackson, Mississippi. Like the entire state legislature came out for it and everything like that. He actually has 3 headstones. He has one in Jackson in the Confederate Memorial section, one in Columbus, Mississippi, which is his adoptive hometown, even though he was technically born up in Tennessee. And the third one just erected a couple years ago, actually marking where his body lays, because forever, it was known that he was buried in this plot, but he never had a stone over him. Just a really cool historical figure that I've read about. So that one's a little bit of a gimme.
And wasn't there the legend that they took his dog to his grave and the dog wouldn't leave and just laid there and cried the whole time and finally died?
I think so. I think so. Sandy Mitchum says he was reportedly hit by bullets or shrapnel 9 times at Gettysburg. Just he was a little bit above average height from everything that I could find on him, but he was a very well built, stocky of a man. Just a very like I said, he's just and he just like Jackson, he goes out at the height of his career. So it makes a really good story as well. So final question for tonight that will determine, I'm sure, our winner. You ready? Ready, Adam?
Yeah, go ahead.
Iceland is in the North Atlantic. Its capital city is Reykjavik. When is Jefferson Davis's birthday? If you paid attention to the announcement that we'll be bringing up here in a second. It was on there, and we've also mentioned the date. We'll also mention the date earlier in one of the questions. So, and if you know anything about Bobby Joe Gentry, she sings about that date in like her only famous song. It was the blank of blank, another sleepy, dusty Delta day in the song. You don't have to put the year on there. Just the month and date is sufficient. You don't get extra credit if you've already answered and then you put the date in there for the year.
We'll make sure credit.
But you didn't know that about me and William Barksdale, did you?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, he. I spent a good portion of a summer reading about him, and there's really not a definitive biography about him. And one of these days, when I have free time and feel like sitting down and actually writing something of Stance, it'll be a biography on Barksdale. So it is June 3rd. So yeah, June the 3rd was President Davis's birthday. And that, of course, is coming up in 2 short weeks from today, where we'll be doing a special episode on President Davis. Maybe not so much his wartime life, but about everything that he did before the war and how he impacted so much in American culture, whether it's the Smithsonian Institute or the Camel Corps or different things of that. He's so, which we respect and honor his service as our only president. I mean, I don't think anybody else could have done a better job at any single time doing what we did. But there's a reason why he was our president. As far as a statesman, he did so much, and we're gonna talk about that. But also, if you looked at our page earlier, you should have seen that we are running a special sale, Jefferson Davis birthday sale. So our shirt on our bonfire, the All We Ask Is to Be Let Alone, is on sale now for 10% off. Use the code BDAY, all caps, BDAY, Bravo, Delta, Alpha. I'm not going to say that word. Yak. I'm not going to say Yankee. At checkout. So when you hit checkout, there's a section over to the right that says promotional code. Put BDAY on there. Get 10% off. Bonfire.com/leave-dixie-alone-jeff-davis-t, or go to scvchat.com and you will see support us, and you'll see all of our shirts. It'll take you directly to it. We're running this through June the 10th, so 1 week after his birthday. So get that shirt. Really, he summed up the South's the position very well in that when he said all we ask is to be let alone. Really quickly wrapping up as Adam is continuing to do math. You sure you don't want to serve on the Tellers Committee this year at Reunion? Again, want to thank this season's sponsor, the Creative Cockades. Every cockade has a story to tell, research, documentation, quality workmanship, personal customer service. She's got some, speaking of Jeff Davis, reproduction of some Jeff Davis ones based on some original. She's got some UCV ones. She's got a lot. Check her out. She does great work, great historical research. And really, really great quality. Tomorrow night, if you are not tuning in, you need to start tuning in to Look Around Florida with Sean McFall. 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time and 7 o'clock Confederate Daylight Time. Sean offers an excellent program for his division, especially if you're from another division and looking for something to take from another division and implement in your own. Hey, this is a great place to to start looking. Again, remember, we have our Patreon, $10 a month. Part of the proceeds go to the museum. Patreon.com/SCV_chat. Helps keep us on the air, and there's some stuff on there that is Patreon exclusive, like the book that I'm reading. Harrison hasn't started it yet, that we're going to do a review on, as well as all those books. We're actually trying to get up to 100 subscribers on Patreon so we can do a podcast version of our book review. Right now, it's going to be text. We may offer a podcast for the first portion of it just because of how interesting it is. But that is exclusively through patreon.com/SCV_chat. $10 a month. It's easy to sign up for here in the next couple of weeks. We should be eligible to, if you don't want to do the $10 monthly, then you can go and do the whole annual all at once. So that'll be cool to offer for y'all. If you have camp, division, brigade, or other subsidiary news, and you want to see it featured on the show, make sure you email scvyouth@gmail.com for Look Around the Confederation. Reminders, that's 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time, live on Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere else you get this show at. Except for the podcast, because we can only do one show and chat gets it. Make sure to have it submitted by 3 p.m. in order to ensure that Harrison can get it into the episode. Jason Lloyd, I saw your message or your email earlier about the memorial service that y'all have. I'll make sure that it is featured on there for Thursday. Remember that we have a lot of good things happening at your headquarters in your museum. It belongs to us. It's ours to take care of. So if you are not, consider joining the Friends of the Museum today. Multiple levels of membership. Just email Adam for more information. From $25 to $1,000 and various other benefits. Proceeds go to the museum. Would love to eventually see to where the museum has its own artifact acquisition fund. I know there's one you can donate online, but I'd love to see that part of it goes to part of that. But anyway, you do not have to be a member of the SCV to join. So if you have a wife, a granddaughter, a girlfriend, a female significant other that wants to support what we're doing, she can join the Friends of the Museum just like you can. Also, if Elm Springs is something that you love the old house, and love seeing what Adam and staff are doing over there, whether it's the project removal or the closet removal project, or the restoring the bathroom / smokehouse, or anything else, join the Friends of Historic Elm Springs. Again, they're $25 to $100 with various benefits. All proceeds go to restore the home and maintain the home. Again, do not have to be a member of the SCV to join. And if you do not have the lineage to join the SCV, or you do not have the genetic qualifications to join the SCV, consider joining the Friends of the SCV today. You get a membership certificate, a lapel pin, a 1-year subscription to the Confederate Veteran Magazine. It's open to men and women. Subsequent donations, $5 or more each year, will maintain your Confederate Veteran subscription. And even if you are a spouse of somebody, a spouse of a member, and you get that magazine in, you think you're not going to do anything with it, hey, remember, you can donate it to your local library, and somebody can see something about the SCV and want to join. So help do your part by joining the Friends of the SCV today. You got anything else?
No, I think you pretty well covered it.
How who won?
Well, my notes, according to my notes, Sandy Mitchum is the winner with 14 answers correct.
Well, good job, Dr. Mitchum. Who came in second place?
Adam Medlin came in second with 12. And then we have a tie for third place. Luke and Jason Lloyd had 11 answers correct. And then it looks like C.W. Johnson had 10 correct. So.
Good. Hey, good job, guys. I tried to pick some hard ones out there to kind of stump you and test your knowledge. We should be, the SCV should be the first line of anything knowledgeable about the Confederacy. So that's why we like doing trivia. Besides, it's a fun, laid-back time. It's a way to test our knowledge and everything like that. So, good job, Dr. Mitchum. He is conceding to Mr. Medlin. So, Mr. Medlin, if you will email us at scvyouthOutreach@gmail.com if you are still watching. That is SCVYOUTHO outreach. I can't spell, neither can Moose, at gmail.com, or go to scvchat.com, and our email is all over there. Just shoot us an email with your address. We'll get the certificate and everything to you. If you're going to be at National Reunion, we'll bring you on the air and present it as well as something else. So look forward to that. Could we ask some questions about the Trans-Mississippi next time? Yes, we can. The time, normally our trivia goes for the full hour, not just, split it up in half. It's nobody's fault. But we wanted a quick one tonight. So, which we're still running over 34 minutes. But still, yes, we'll throw in some ATM, try to make it even. Remember to tune in Thursday for Moose's show. We appreciate you watching. And in the words of the late and great Harold Philpotts, no Fumar in the elevator. Brother Fry.